Before he was the most feared man in Westeros, the silent force behind the Iron Throne, the architect of his family's terrifying supremacy, Tywin Lannister poured wine. Not as a Lord Paramount, not as the hand of the king, but as a boy, a cupbearer, serving a king who history would remember as Egg. This is the story of how the lion learned to be a dragon. By watching one fail. To understand the cold, calculating man we know, you have to go back to his youth. Tywin was sent to King's Landing not just as an honor, but as a necessary escape from humiliation. His father, Tytos Lannister, was a kind man, and in Westeros, kindness is a fatal flaw. He forgave debts, ignored insults, and allowed his own bannermen to laugh at the name Lannister. The lions of Casterly Rock had become kittens, and Tywin burned with a shame he would never forget. At court, he was a shadow. Silent, observant, his face a mask. He stood behind King Aegon V, the unlikely king, a man who had walked the roads of the Seven Kingdoms as a common squire. Aegon wasn't a conqueror in the mold of his ancestors. He had no dragons. His weapon was idealism. He wanted to reform the realm, to protect the small folk from the tyranny of lords, to build the kingdom on a foundation of fairness. He believed that justice, not fire and blood, was the source of a king's power. And Tywin watched. He watched as the great lords of the realm smiled to the king's face and ignored his decrees in their own lands. He saw how every attempt at reform was choked by the arrogance of highborn councils. He learned a fundamental truth that Aegon, for all his goodness, seemed to miss. Mercy without power is seen as weakness. Justice without fear invites defiance. The Targaryens had once commanded the skies. Their dragons were living symbols of absolute authority. Rebellion was unthinkable because dragons could turn castles to ash. But in Aegon's time, the skies were empty. And in that silence, Tywin Lannister saw the new reality of power. If you don't have a dragon, you must become one. He observed the endless debates in the small council, where compromise diluted the king's will. He listened as powerful lords questioned royal authority, their challenges growing bolder with every concession the king made. Aegon wanted to lift the realm up. Tywin concluded that the realm needed to be brought to heel. These weren't lessons taught by a master. They were hard truths carved into the mind of a young man, determined to never be weak again. Then came the end. The tragedy of Summerhall. A desperate, doomed attempt by Aegon to hatch fossilized dragon eggs to bring back the fire and glory of his house. The attempt failed catastrophically. The castle burned, the king died. And the last hope for dragons returning to the world died with him. For Tywin, the lesson of Summerhall was brutal and clear. Chasing the ghosts of the past leads only to ruin. Nostalgia is a disease. Sentiment is a poison. Real power is built here, and now, with gold, with armies, and with fear. Years later, when Tywin himself became Hand of the King to Aerys II, the lessons he learned as a boy became the law of the land. The soft touch of Aegon was gone, replaced by an iron fist, when the House's reign and Tarbeck, bannermen to Casterly Rock, dared to rise against him. Tywin did not negotiate. He didn't seek compromise. He annihilated them, he flooded the minds of Castamere, wiping their line from existence, ensuring their legacy was nothing more than a song. And what a song it was! The Reigns of Castamere wasn't just music, it was a statement of policy. It was a promise, where Aegon had tried to earn loyalty through justice. Tywin commanded obedience through absolute certainty, the certainty that defiance meant extinction. The realm prospered under his leadership, not from love, but from cold, efficient order. The lion's shadow grew so large, it even eclipsed the king he served. Tywin Lannister redefined power in Westeros. He didn't need dragons. He had the immense wealth of Casterly Rock. He had the disciplined armies of the Westerlands, and he forged a reputation so fearsome that it strangled rebellion in its cradle. To Tywin, weakness was the ultimate sin because it invited chaos. He'd seen it in his father's gentle rule, and in the nobles' defiance of a good king. His rule was built on fear, but it was a calculated, precise fear. It wasn't about cruelty, it was about control. There's a powerful poetry to his story. The quiet boy who once poured wine for a dragon, who dreamed of a better world, would grow up to rule the world that dragon left behind. He did it not with compassion, but with strategy, gold, and an unflinching will. In a world without dragons, Tywin Lannister became the closest thing Westeros had to one. But history has a cruel sense of irony. For all his mastery of power, for all his carefully laid plans, for his family's legacy, Tywin Lannister did not die a glorious death. He died at the hands of the son he despised. A final, humbling lesson that even the most powerful man cannot control everything. Game of Thrones is a story of grand battles, but it's also a story forged in quiet moments like these. In the shadows of throne rooms, where the future is shaped not by kings, but by the young men watching them. Before the Red Wedding, before the sack of King's Landing, before he was the terror of the Seven Kingdoms, Tywin Lannister was just a boy holding a cup, watching a dragon try to rule without fire. And in that silence, he learned everything he needed to know. Thanks for watching.